Hey people, my name's Pritsy, and today we are going to talk about the second book to the House of Night series called Betrayed. And I don't have the actual book, so I'm just going to show you guys this picture. So yeah, that's how it looks like. And if you guys have not read the first book to the House of Night series, Marked, do not watch this video because it will have spoilers from here too. So let's get started by reading the summary. Okay, so here it goes. Fledgling vampire Zoe Redbird has managed to settle in the House of Night. She's come to terms with the vast powers that the vampire goddess Nyx has given her, and is getting a handle of being the new leader of the Dark Daughters. Best of all, she finally feels like she belongs, like she fits in. She actually has a boyfriend. Or two. The unthinkable happens. Human teenagers are being killed, and all evidence points to the House of Night. While danger stalks the humans from Zoe's old life, she begins to realize that the very powers that make her so unique might also threaten those she loves. Then, when she needs her friends the most, death strikes the House of Night, and Zoe must find the courage to face the betrayal that could break her heart, her soul, and jeopardize the very fabric of her world. But yeah, that's the summary. And spoilers for the book Betrayed, the one that I'm talking about right now, is going to start right now. So I'm going to give you guys like 5 seconds to exit out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're going to start the spoilers. We're going to start talking about this book. Okay, so let's start with this. Zoe is finally getting used to the House of Night. She's finally starting to fit in, finally with her friends and everything. She feels like she belongs, and so she's happy because of that. And so there's also a love struggle in this book between that Zoe has to pick between Eric and Heath, because you know how Heath and Zoe had the imprint's strong. So, and they actually kind of love each other, you know, and so it's like a love struggle between Eric and Heath. And me, I was on Eric's side in this book because, you know, he's nice and he's actually respecting that she take her time with the decision. I mean, most guys would have just dumped them at the sight of the other guy that she says that she's in love with, you know. But yeah. And I was on Eric's side, you know. I didn't want her to go with Heath, but I didn't hate Heath either, you know. But yeah. And then another thing happens. There's like this parent reunion thing where the parents get to come over to the House of Night and say hi to their kids and everything and spend some time with them. And so Zoe goes and she finds out that her stepdad and her mom came and her grandma. And so yeah, so she goes to greet them along with Neferette, and they start talking a little bit, and later along the conversation, Zoe's stepdad, or she calls him Step Loser, starts insulting vampires. Starts saying, like, they shouldn't exist, they're unnatural, they don't deserve to be here. And so Neferette sets him straight, and she's all like, you know what, you can either leave this House of Night, or you can stay here and respect what we believe in and respect us. And he looked mad, and I'm like, yes, Neferette set him straight. And so yeah, the stepdad gets mad, and he tells Zoe's mom, I think her name is Linda, but he tells her mom, he's all like, come on, let's get out of this place. We're never coming back here again. And so they leave, and Zoe's like really mad at him and her mom because, I mean, Zoe's stepdad just made it impossible for her and her mom to ever kind of see each other again. And so yeah, I thought the Step Loser was a jerk. A total and complete jerk. So yeah, that happens. Okay, another thing that happens is that when when after the fight with Neferette and her stepdad, Zoe needs some fresh air, so she walks out of the House of Night for a while, and she's taking a walk, and she runs into the scene with Aphrodite and Aphrodite's parents. And she's all like, oh my god, and Zoe hides like behind a bush or something. And Aphrodite's parents are telling Aphrodite Aphrodite, you have to find a way to get back into the Dark Daughters. I don't care if you cheat your way in there, or if you just have to find a way to get Zoe kicked out or something. And Aphrodite's all like, I can't though. She's already made leaders of the Dark Daughters. I can't change that. They would never accept me back in. And her mom, I think, slaps her in that moment, and she's all like, well, you have to find a way and everything. And Zoe starts to feel like a little bit sympathetic towards Aphrodite, but then after that she gets to thinking, and she's all like, just because your parents are mean doesn't mean you have the right to be mean to other people too. And so yeah, that happens, and Zoe realizes that Aphrodite's gonna try and get Zoe kicked out of the Dark Daughters. And so yeah, that happens. And so another thing that happens is that along the book, when Zoe and her friends are watching the news, the news said that kids from Broken Arrow, Zoe's last high school, are going missing. In specific, the football team, and Heath is in the football team. And so kids keep going missing and then later ending up dead. And all the evidence points to the House of Night, because whoever killed them made it look like vampires killed them. And in this book, everyone knows about vampires. So yeah, and so like 2 detectives come to talk to Zoe and Nephryte, I think. And one is like basically good cop and the other is like bad cop. Because the good detective, he has a sister, and he knows everything they go through every day and everything. And that's the good cop, and the bad cop just keeps shooting questions at Zoe, just keeps shooting questions. And so at the end of the interview, the good detective gives Zoe a card and says if she ever finds out anything to just call him. And she's like, okay, I will. And so they leave, and so that happens. And another thing that happens is that along the book, Zoe keeps getting like signs that Stevie Ray is rejecting the change, and she doesn't figure it out yet until she actually dies. But yeah, Stevie Ray keeps looking pale. Stevie Ray has like black like bags under her eyes. Stevie Ray's she's coughing every once in a while and stuff, and I keep yelling at Zoe in my head. I'm like, Zoe, can't you see? She's gonna reject the change. And I'm all like, no, I don't want her to die. I was like throwing a fit when I first heard her cough. I'm all like, oh crap, she's gonna reject the change. Didn't want that to happen. I really didn't. I don't. But yeah, that happened. And along the book too, when Zoe is doing like a ritual, the Dark Daughters ritual, Stevie Ray is there and her friends are there and stuff, and at the end of the ritual, Stevie Ray starts coughing, and she collapses, and Stevie Ray starts coughing up blood, and just she's dying, and Zoe's like, oh my god, Stevie Ray, no, and she's holding her best friend in her arms while she dies, and so Stevie Ray dies, and it's sad because Zoe doesn't want to let her go. And, yeah, and eventually Zoe lets go. But that moment was really sad. I cried. I literally cried. And my parents asked me what was wrong. And I'm all like, she died. In my book, she died. And my mom's all like, whatever. I'm all like, oh. But yeah, I cried in that part. It was sad. Didn't want Zoe. I didn't want Stevie Ray to die, because Stevie Ray is like the fun one. She gets everyone's spirits up. She's the one that's always, she's funny and everything. I didn't want her to die. I was sad. So yeah, that happened. And then another thing that happened is that later, I think it was before Stevie Ray died, that they were watching the news again, and they find out that Heath goes missing. And Zoe feels sick to her stomach. And so then later she finds out that she can just use her imprint to find out where Heath is. And she did, and she found out that he was in the tunnels underneath the depot. And so since the roads were snowed in, she had to use something else. She used the horse from the stables of the House of Night, and she rode the horse to the depots to go save Heath. And yeah, and so she goes inside the depot, and she finds Heath, and they were about to leave when these things surround them, and they're what you would expect vampires to be. They're pale, they're like hunched, they're like red tinged eyes a little bit. They're animalistic, and instead of having a blue mark, they have a red mark, you know, on their forehead of a vampire. And Zoe finds out that Neferet did this to them. Every student who has rejected the change at the House of Night has been turned into one of these things. And yeah, and that was sad. I mean, it was sad, but and like whoa at the same time. And then later, Zoe finds out that Stevie Ray is one of them. And it was just, I didn't want Stevie Ray to be one of them. It was sad. And so eventually Zoe escapes from the group of vampires, and with Stevie Ray's help, though, because Stevie Ray still has like a spark of good in her, and she wasn't going to let her best friend die, so Stevie Ray helps Zoe escape, and Zoe's all like, I'm coming back for you, I'm going to find a way to save you from this, and she's all like, okay. And so Zoe leaves, and she's about to go, actually, and when she takes out her phone and calls a detective saying that she needs help, that she found Heath, and to go pick him up at the depots, you know. And right when they're about to escape, right when they're going to leave the depot doors, Neferet shows up. And Neferet shows up and makes them forget everything with her powers. Neferet uses her powers to make Zoe and Heath forget everything. And so later, Zoe wakes up unconscious outside of the depot. And the detective's waking her up, and he's asking if she's okay. And she's like, yeah, she's fine. But she has that feeling inside her that something's wrong. Something happened to her. And so the detective's giving Zoe a ride back to the House of Night. And along the way, Zoe realizes that somebody messed with her memory. Something's wrong, and she needs to remember. And so she uses all her powers to bring back the memories, and so she remembers everything. And Heath is safely back home and stuff. But when she gets back to the House of Night, and her friends greet her, saying if she's okay and everything, and her friends are surrounding her, and Neferet comes in to get a hug from Zoe because she thinks that Zoe doesn't remember anything. And so Zoe hugs her and whispers in Neferet's ear, saying that she knows everything. She remembers everything. And Neferet whispers in Zoe's ear, and Zoe's like, and Neferet's like, if you tell anyone, no one's gonna believe you. I'm gonna make sure you get kicked out of this House of Night. And she knew that Neferet was kind of right, but she wasn't gonna go down without a fight. And so in that moment when they let go of their hug, Zoe felt like something burning a little bit. I think it was either behind her back or on her shoulders. But she got new tattoos from the goddess, and she showed them to her friends right in front of Neferet. And Neferet's like, oh my god. And I'm like, yeah, you deserve that, Neferet. See, now you got some competition. You know that you're not going to be able to get away with anything. And so, yeah. That is basically what happens in this book, Betrayed, the second book to the House of Night series. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sorry, I kept trying to put on videos, but it wouldn't let me because it said it was too long, and that's why I made this one shorter. But, yeah. Well, thank you for watching, guys. Please subscribe. Bye. My name's Pritsy. I'll see you guys later. Bye.